What's up, Notjust developers? Welcome back to a new live stream and welcome back to Not Just Hack, the best hackathon for mobile developers where we challenge you to build a mobile application in just 3 days and compete for the grand prize, a MacBook Air M2. This is day 2 of our hackathon, and today the plan is to quickly update what's going on with the Notjust hack. And I also want to host a more technical session to help you get started with Git. I received some questions about that. I also will show you how you can easily get started with Expo and start building React Native applications without having to go through a lot of hassle setting up your environment, because using Expo is the easiest way to get started. You don't have to set up a lot of things. You can get up and running in couple of minutes. I will also focus a lot today on working with maps. I will teach you how to integrate Google Maps and Apple Maps in your React Native application. And because I believe that a lot of you will want to do something with maps, knowing the topic of this year's hackathon. But first, let me quickly update about the hackathon, what it is, what to expect, and at what stage we are currently, and then we can get into the technical stuff. So, Not Just Hack. Yes, it's about building a mobile application in just 3 days. It's about challenging yourself to see what you can accomplish in such a short amount of time. And believe me, it's more, you can accomplish more than you think. So give it a try. Our grand prize is a new MacBook Air M2, and the theme this year is local community support. So we expect people to build applications that intend to help local communities evolve. Here, the topic is quite wide, so there are a large range of what types of applications you could build to help local communities. It can be related to tourism, it can be related to maybe safety, maybe networking in a local community, helping businesses in a local community, learning, sharing, and so on. So there are a lot of ideas that you can build here. Besides that, we also have some other prizes. For the third place, the people will receive $500 from IBM StepZen, the project that will win the third place. For the second place, the winner will get the full stack mobile developer course, which is provided by our academy, and the grand prize, as I already said. So about the timeline, when to expect what? Today is Tuesday when I'm doing this live stream, and we are in the middle of a hackathon. There is still 1.5 days until tomorrow evening, until 22nd November, to work on your application. Someone was asking in the chat if it's too late to join. At this moment, it's not yet too late. There is still some time to join and to build something. Maybe you're not going to be able to build all the features that you plan, but you can still put together a proof of concept and submit it by the deadline. So yes, you can participate. You can still sign up. The deadline to submit your project is tomorrow on Wednesday, 22nd November at midnight in the GMT time zone. And on Thursday, on 23rd, we're going to host the demo day presenting the best projects, the best applications. So yeah, don't forget about the deadline. What you have to do, you can find information on notjust.dev/hack. To prepare the presentation, and here you'll also find the URL to submit the form. The deadline is 22nd November at midnight. So the next steps, what you are supposed to focus on at this moment. So we are halfway through, and most probably you should already have brainstorm and chosen the idea that you want to build. Maybe you drew some sketches. This is really optional, and it's only for to help you implement and visualize what you want to build. And probably also thought about like what features you want to prioritize in order to showcase the solution, and in order to focus on the most important features, on the must features, and not on the nice to haves. The next steps probably at this moment what I would be doing if I would be participating is I would be very deep into the building the application, into building these main features, into putting it together to see a result. And yeah, the next steps after building the application, again, record and submit the presentation. And on Thursday, you'll join the demo day to see the results. Again, more information you can find at notjust.dev/hack. And here I also want to share with you some resources that we made available to you to help you move along. There is a public Discord channel for our Notjust development community that you can join. There should be a link in the description below, and there we have a separate channel for the hackathon where you can exchange experience, ask questions, get help from other members. Also, on our channel, if you're new to this hackathon, if you're new to our channel, you will find a lot of tutorials, of project-based tutorials that will help you build mobile applications using React Native. And on the backend, sometimes we use AWS Amplify, sometimes we use Supabase, sometimes we use StepZen. So there is a lot of tutorials out there that can help you get started. So see for yourself which one is closer to your application. There is in particular a couple of them. For example, the Airbnb clone has a lot of features related to the map, and that can help you if you're building something related to showing something on the map. There is also the Uber Eats that also works with the map, but also shows the path, the destination. So you can check those out as well. So there are a lot of free content on our YouTube channel. Check it out and use it as a starting point for your project if you feel stuck or if you need some help, like a starting point. Also, if you want to learn more about and get more in depth into building full stack mobile applications using React Native and AWS, then check out our full stack mobile developer course, which is our premium course that goes very in depth. It has more than 40 hours of content and will help you master and learn these skills. We also have a Black Friday deal coming soon. It's not yet available, but it's going to be in less than 2 days. So it starts on 23rd, and you're going to be able to join at a discount, at a 50% discount. This is the biggest deal that we are making, so make sure to check it out if you're interested. Anyway, what we're going to do today, as I said, the focus of today is going to be on the maps, but throughout this, I will also answer some questions from the live stream, from the live chat. I will also show you how to work with Git, how to connect with GitHub, how to get started with Expo. So it's going to be a very hands-on session, a tech session to help you move along and build your application. How is everyone doing? Let's see if you're working already on the application. Do you already have the idea figured out? I'm interested to know at what stage you are currently. Let me know. Are you already building? Did you decide on what you're going to build? Yes, I see people that are. If the question is if application requires some input to create item, for example, do we need to show it as 1 minute is too little time to show up and creating data? I would recommend you to not spend a lot of time showing like how you type every single character. Maybe have a pre-filled form that you can just show and press save and that's it. Because like don't even spend time on like validation and stuff like that. These are important features for a production application, but for a proof of concept, keep it very, very simple. So yeah, as I said, maybe you can have pre-filled values that you can open, you see the form, we understand like what's the purpose of that form, and when you press save, we can see the result on the main screen. So again, like, don't focus on the little details, show us the big picture. And if you need to take some shortcuts, that's perfectly fine during a hackathon. Hi, after placing our code on GitHub, what's next? Guys, you can find all the information about the hack if you go to notjust.dev/hack, and there is everything that you have to do in order to submit your presentation. So here on the demo day, I explain how the demo day is gonna happen. You have to submit a video presentation, and I have also recommended you a structure. The video should be maximum 2 minutes long, and you quickly introduce the problem and the solution that you want to build, and then demo and show us the result. Show us the user interface, but focus on the main features. Don't show us how you can create an account, or if you have some onboarding screens, that's perfectly fine, but show us the meat, show us the most important parts of your application. And yeah, you can submit that here by pressing on this button. And there you'll put the video URL and the GitHub URL. So that's everything you have to do to submit. And also on the website, you're going to see the evaluation criteria to understand what we are going to look at and how we're going to review the applications. Anyway, yeah, let me quickly see if maybe I can answer some other questions, and then we can get started building. Gaming G, sorry, don't have a lot of experience with Firebase. Do we need to have a login and sign up? Well, it really depends on the application. Like, some applications do not need this. Even like, I don't know, like something like Airbnb, like just listing events and seeing like stuff on a map, or I don't know exactly what you're working on, but some applications can work without sign up and sign in. If you can integrate this very easily, if you're working with, let's say, a backend as a service, for example, AWS Amplify, and you know that you can integrate authentication in not more than 1 hour, then yeah, maybe you can do that. And only if it adds value to your application. But if it will take you, I don't know, half of a day, don't spend that amount of time on the authentication and sign up. Maybe you can figure out, maybe you can connect data to the user device, or maybe you can have a simple input. Give us your username at the beginning, and then connect everything else like with that username. Be creative. My finger's already on fire. Let's go. Could you please confirm whether it's permissible for me to upload the demo application to the internet and include the URL in my presentation, allowing others to view my work? Yes, you can do that. Maybe you can leave a QR code at the end. Fato is saying, I have just got back from work. Let's see how many people are actually have a day job. Not sure if. Oh, no, that's not a Q&A. What's that? And Q&A. Oh, there can be Q&A. Okay, that's interesting. So let's start actually the Q&A. I didn't know about this Q&A, but I'm gonna start it, and you can drop the questions there, and maybe later when I do some pauses between implementing some features, I can check the Q&A session. All right, guys. So let's get started. I will get back to the live to the chat and answer more questions, but I really want to get started and set up something really quick. So as you know, the Notjust Hack is a hackathon focused on mobile applications. While we do not enforce any kind of technology, like if you have experience with a specific tag tool and so on that helps you build applications, use that. It's perfectly fine. However, on this channel, we use a lot React Native, and especially with Expo. We use Expo because it's very easy to get started. You don't need to have a lot of things set up on your system like Android Studio or Xcode, SDKs, and so on. So the easiest way to get started and to build a cross-platform mobile application with React Native is using Expo. So the only dependency on your environment, on your machine that you need is Node.js. You can download Node.js from notjust.org, download the latest, install it, set up, and that will also give you access to NPM and NPX. Let me open a terminal. We're gonna use a command line tool to initialize our Expo application. So for that, we need a terminal. Let's open it up. I will navigate to my project. 1 second. Navigate to a location where you keep your projects, and there, go ahead and run npx create expo app. You can also add latest to take the latest version of a create expo application. And here we need to give it a name. For example, local communities. Let's run this. I'm not even gonna select a template. I'm gonna show you how you can really easily get started with a blank project. You don't even need to bother about TypeScript and so on, like if you don't have experience, if you don't feel comfortable with that. However, during hackathons, it's a great time to learn something new. So if you wanted to learn TypeScript, maybe now is time to try it out and to use TypeScript in this application. Anyway, for this demo, I'm gonna use simple JavaScript, even though I feel that nowadays I'm slower writing JavaScript and I get all weird errors. Okay, so after that is done, our project is initialized. So we can see all the files in the directory that we created. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open Visual Studio Code, where you can use any other editors of your choice, and I'm gonna open that project. Let me first find it. And here is local communities. Let's open it up in Visual Studio Code. And before we look at the files, let's simply start the development server. For that, we need a terminal inside our project. So you can open it up in Visual Studio Code by going here, new terminal, and here we have the new terminal. So what we have to do is do npm start, and this will start the development server, the Metro bundler. We will quickly see a QR code, and with this QR code, what we can do is on our physical device, both on iOS and Android, there is on the market the Expo Go application. Go ahead, search on the market Expo Go, download it, and then scan this QR code with your physical device, and you will see the application running there. That's the easiest setup that you can have to run a React Native application. In my case, I will run it actually on an iOS simulator, just for you to also see it on my screen. But I could easily do that with my physical device. So if you don't have Xcode installed, you don't have emulators, you don't have Android Studio, then I would recommend simply sticking with Expo Go. It's perfectly fine. So let me press I here. In this command line, this is where we will also see the logs that our application is creating. And also here is where we will interact with our bundler. For example, running our application on Android, or opening the debugger, pressing R to reload the application. But yeah, on our phone, we should see the following screen. Come on. It's a simple text box saying open app.js to start working. App.js is a file here in our project. This is the entry point in our application, meaning this is the first file that is being loaded when our application starts. Here we can see a text component that if we update it, hello world, it should update on our physical device, being it on Expo Go or on emulator, it should update automatically. So yeah, now we are ready to work on our application. Because to get rid of these red error warnings, which are not, the application is still working. But to get rid of them, I'm gonna go ahead and press config or gsconfig. I mean, this is not mandatory, but I'm gonna change here from React to React JSX, and that should fix these issues. Yes. This is a new file created in the root directory. Anyway, that's how easy it is to get started. After that, in your app.js, you'll start working on your application. And once you're ready, or once you have some progress, make sure to go ahead and commit your changes. So now we get into a little bit of Git fundamentals. I'm not going to cover very in depth. I'm only going to cover some commands that you will need in order for this not to stop you from submitting your application. So if you are following the same steps as I'm doing, the application that was generated by Create Expo app tool, it already has a Git repository initialized. You will also need Git on your system, so make sure to install it if you don't have it already. But after you have it, you can open a terminal. Look, there is the terminal that is running our development server, and I will press a plus button to leave my development server running and to be able to run our commands here in the second one. So in the second one, we can start with running git status, and this will show us what files were modified. We see that the file that was modified is app.js, and if I run git diff, this will show the difference. So we see that the text previously was this one, and we updated it to hello world. That's exactly what we wanted to do. So let's press, let's quit this editor. I'm not sure which specific editor is gonna choose for you, but if it's Vim, then you have to do double dots or what? Oh no, just Q. Q will quit that editor. Now, what do we do? How do we create a commit out of these changes that we just created? We do that by first adding the files that we want to submit in this commit. Usually that's going to be adding all the files that have been modified. So to add all the files, we simply do git add and then the dot to specify that the whole current directory that we are in added to the staging area. Now if we do git status, the commit is not yet finalized, but the changes are staged, so they are ready to be committed. The next step is to do git commit, and then with -m, we can specify the message that will help us identify like what changes we have done during this commit. For example, init application and change text. Let's submit. If now I do git status, I see that I'm on branch main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. All right, so the code is committed, but it still lives on our machine. If we simply delete this directory, we're gonna lose the whole project. So the next step is to connect it and to upload your Git repository to GitHub. So GitHub, if you already know, is the platform where you can store your repositories. So on GitHub, let's go ahead and press on the new to create a new repository. Give it a name, for example, local communities. Yeah, local communities. I would recommend having it public. for us to be able to review it. Because if you put it in private, we're not going to have access when we will review your application. So leave it in public, and that's it. Press create repository. This will create an empty repository, and it will also show some setup instructions how to connect it with your local repository. So we're not creating a new one. We already have a repository. So all we need to do is we need to connect it with this one from GitHub and then push the changes. So we're going to follow the second step here, and we're going to start with git remote add origin. So the first command here, git remote add origin. This is going to connect our local repository with the one remotely on GitHub. The second step, you don't have to do it because by default nowadays the branch is main. So let's go to the third step and simply push our current repository, our current branch to GitHub. So if we run git push -u origin main, we will see that, yeah, the changes were pushed from a new branch from main to main. And if I go back and refresh my GitHub, I will see the repository with all the files from my application. And if we look at the commits, there are two commits. The first one is initial from the application, but the second one is the commit that we just created where we changed the text from this one to hello world. So that's how you can create and connect a local Git repository with GitHub. And that's everything you need to submit. I mean, besides the video presentation, that's everything you need to submit your project during the application. So just copy your URL of a project, go to Notjust Hack, press on this submit on the demo day, and you'll put the URL of the GitHub here. That's it. But after the initial part where you do this, after you do some changes, make sure to push the last changes to your repository so that we can see the full application and not only the initial commit. To do that, for example, let's say that you're going to come back, you're going to do some changes. For example, here instead of hello world is going to be local app communities. So you're gonna save, you're gonna see that the application is nice, you might record the demo, but these changes are not yet on GitHub. You need to take some steps. On GitHub, we still see hello world. The steps that you have to do after doing some changes are running 3 commands. First one is to add the changes to your staging area. Before that, you can always do git status to see what's going on. Now, if you're sure, what you have to do is you go ahead and first of all git add dot, then you do git commit -m change title, for example, and git push origin main to push the current repository to the origin, which is GitHub, and to the main branch. If I go back to GitHub and refresh this file, now instead of hello world, I see the latest changes that I have developed, local app communities. Anyway, that's everything that you need to know how to work with Git if you don't have experience with it already in order to submit your application. I'm gonna stop now for a bit. The next step is we are going to learn about maps and how to work with them. But for that, let me maybe put some music. Let me know if it's too loud. Oh, and I have some coffee here. Let me see some comments. Can I use JSON server for backend servers? Yeah, probably you can do that. Wife will kill me because of this hackathon. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Vladimir is using this hackathon to learn TypeScript. That's perfect. Where are you from? I feel that we are from the same part of the world. The question, will there be a certificate of participation at the end of the training? This is to encourage students in my community to sign up to your training. Yes, we've got this idea yesterday from the live chat. I see that some people care about the certificate. So we worked with a team yesterday to create this certificate. So I'm happy to announce that yes, there will be a certificate, and people who will submit an application to the demo day, those will receive the certificate of participation. So yeah, that's another benefit of participating, I guess. Serbia, yes, I am from Moldova also. Not also, but yeah, Eastern Europe. Biraj is saying, I wanted to learn React Native but always procrastinated, but now I will learn it. Yes, let's go. That's the best thing that can happen during a hackathon. Hello from Peru, thanks for sharing your knowledge, great videos. Thank you very much. Hello, Miguel. All right, guys, so talking about maps, let's go ahead and see how to work with them, how to at least get started and see something in our application. Because we're using Expo, what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if there is any solution by Expo to help us integrate maps. So the first Google search would be Expo maps. And that should redirect us to the map view. So this map view is a library that provides a map component that uses Google Maps for Android, and on iOS it offers Apple Maps or Google Maps. So on iOS we can choose which provider we want for our maps. So the thing is that this is a separate library, it's an open source library. So if we go to this one, to the usage, let's open the full documentation of React Native Maps. The library that we are going to actually use is called React Native Maps. How it relates to Expo is in the following way. The Expo Go application that we are using to run our application inside, this application already has some native code that allows us to integrate with the maps out of a box. So what does that mean? It means that we don't even have to have a Google developer account. We don't need to set up an API key or so on. We can get started out of a box in like 2 or 3 minutes, and we already can start working with the maps. This is possible while in development, while running the application in Expo Go. When you will publish the application, yes, in that case, you'll have to create a Google developer account, you'll have to get an API key and set it up in your application to continue working, to continue to having the maps connect to Google Maps. But in development and for this hackathon, you don't have to do that. Simply use Expo Go, use map view from Expo, and it will automatically come pre-configured to run everything. So let's see what we have to do. All we have to do is run npx expo install React Native Maps. I'm gonna copy this command, and back in our application, let's open a terminal, and let's, in a new terminal or in a separate one, let's simply paste this command to install React Native Maps. Okay, we see that one package was installed, and under the usage, it shows us how we can easily render a map view. So what we have to do is, let me type it so that I can explain. First, we need to import map view from React Native Maps. Then let's delete this text, and instead of that, let's render the map view. We render the map view, but we will not see anything because we need to give some styles. Let's create a styles for our map and give it width 100% to take the full width of the screen and height 100%. Now if we assign these styles to the map view by sending here styles equal or style equal styles.map, we should already see the map on our screen. We can move it around, we can use pinch to zoom and so on, and to rotate. So that's it. That's everything it takes to have a basic map component in our application. So yeah, as I was saying, I get all these red errors because I decided not to use TypeScript for this project, but my editor is still trying to use it. So I'm gonna simply do a TS ignore here for a moment, or not ignore, but no check, just to have it simply cleaner. So that's how we see the map view here. And because we are inside Expo Go includes the native code for the maps and also has the configuration for the API keys and so on. Now, the rest of the configuration here on the Expo docs is for the moment when you decide to publish your application. In that case, your app will no longer run in Expo Go, it will run as a standalone application, and then you will need your own API key. But for the hackathon, I don't think you will need this, so I'm gonna skip through this. I want you to have, like, at least in development, something usable. So for that reason, I'm going to leave Expo docs for now, and I'm gonna look at the actual documentation of React Native Maps, which we can find on GitHub. Let's scroll down and see what's possible with React Native Maps. So, starting with documentation of map view, we see that we can pass a property to the map view to set the initial region. The initial region that it displays on the screen. So if I'm going to give here initial region, this region was pre-selected for, I think this is San Francisco Bay Area, yeah? Oh, come on. So yeah, it will automatically focus here. So when you refresh the application, it will open here. Usually you'll probably want to display the location of a user or maybe some predefined location. A bit later, maybe we can get also into how to request users' location and so on. But now let's continue to see what's possible with this map view. So, using a map view while controlling the region. Yes. The documentation is a bit outdated. I think it references class components, which we don't use for a very long time in React. What's going on with my camera? Hello? Come on, what's going on? Okay, something weird, but yeah, back to here. I will show you how to work with this controlling the region state in a modern component where we use hooks and functional components. So what's the point here? The goal is if we want to do something when the user changes the location of a map. For example, if we want to send another fetch request to our backend if the user changes the location or moves the map around, in that case we need to somehow listen to these changes from the map view. To listen to the changes, we can do that with map view, but we need to store them somewhere. To store the data about the currently displayed region, we are going to use a state variable in our application. For that, all we have to do is to import useState from React. Let's define the state here as useState, and I will initialize it with this maybe initial region. I'm going even to delete the initial region because we will always send like the most up-to-date region. Now the useState hook gives us back an array of two values. The first one that we can destructure is the actual value of the state. So let's call it region, or region. The second one is a setter that helps us update the state variable. So we can call it set region. Now, if we take this region, as you can see, now it's focused on Madrid. But if we take this region and send it as a property region to our map view, following way, we're going to see that we are back in San Francisco. Now, what we can do is, let's maybe display the latitude and longitude of the region on the screen. Or no, let's simply do a console log region. I will console log the region to see it in the logs. Open the terminal and go back to the terminal that is running our application. It might have already some thrown errors. You can clear that by pressing C on your keyboard, and that will clear everything. Go back to the initial menu. And let's press R to reload the application. We see the initial region that was set in our state value, but when we move, nothing changes, because we never update the region from the state. To do that, we can pass here to the map view a onChange event. And the onChange event, I'm gonna look in the documentation what form it has. It will simply send us the region so we can set it in state. So onChange, let's send to the onChange the set region. So when the map view will change, when the user will change the view, what's going on here? When the user changes the region, we want to update the state variable. Maybe too many field sizes to render a log message via logbox. Most probably it's this console log actually. I'll zoom out a bit because it's too zoomed in. What's going on here with this onChange? We can, first of all, write a function here to receive a region and simply doing console log. If I open Expo Go and the dev tools, oh, there are a lot of things there actually. I thought it's only the region, but it's a lot. Oh, maybe it's not onChange, but onChange region, most probably. So now, if I move, come on, Vadim, on region change. That's what happens when you don't look into the documentation. On region change, now if I change, yes, it updates. No, it doesn't update yet, it just simply console logs. So if we go back to sending here the setter, and if we console log the region that we have in the state, in that situation, when we update, we see that our region in state is actually updating to follow the current selected or visible area. Now you might think, okay, but how can we display something maybe on top of a map view? To do that, usually what we do is we can render, for example, a view below the map view. And inside here, let's display a text that will show something about the region. For example, region, and let's say region dot latitude, and then region dot longitude. So at this moment, we're not gonna see it, but it's there, like very, like on the bottom of the screen. However, what we can do is we can display this view, the container that we want to display on top of a map, with a position absolute. So if we do position absolute, we're gonna see it in the middle. To see it better, let's add a background color, maybe white. And we can also position it on the bottom of a screen. So by saying bottom 10, it should be somewhere on the bottom. Maybe bottom 15 is going to be okay. What else? Let's add some padding here. Padding 10. Maybe for the text itself, we can display it with font weight bold to see it better. Yeah, but if the text is going to be too small, this box will shrink. So it depends how you want to display things. Like if you want to display a box with fixed width, we can position it to the left. We can position it some pixels on the left, for example, 10 pixels on the left, and also 10 pixels on the right. And that will stretch it like this. If I do it with red, probably it's going to be visible, more visible. Should I add here a border? Border width. Okay. Okay, so now we have that text, we have some components that we can display on top of a screen. So we decided here that we are displaying something about latitude and something about longitude of a currently selected region. And when we move, we see that these digits also change as well. They update. Perfect. Is it default map view or Google Map view? At the moment, it's using the default map view, and because I'm running it on iOS, it's using the Apple Maps. However, on Android, we only have ability to use Google Provider for this library, but on iOS, we have a choice to use both Google and or Apple Maps. Let me show you how you can change that. Look at the styles of the maps. This is the iOS, the Apple Maps. However, if we go ahead and import from React Native Maps here, the provider Google, and we send provider Google to our map view here, map view. Oh, come on, map view provider. Yeah, it should be provider. That's why I don't like working in JavaScript. So provider Google. If I refresh the application, I think it changed. Now this is Google Maps, right? Yes, we see the Google logo there that opens in Google. So maybe we shouldn't we should move this box a little bit more to the top so that we can still see the Google logo at the bottom. So yes, on iOS, by passing the provider here, you can either choose the default one, which is Apple, and we see Apple Maps here, or we can change to Google. Biraj is asking, is React Native with Expo good for SaaS or startup as a solo developer? I want to test my ideas and code and learn. If you're focusing on mobile applications, yes, that's perfect. It will get you up and running. For a solo developer, that's very beneficial because you're going to write one code base and you're going to have both iOS and Android. And with some changes, you can also have a web application. Can we import and show SVG file in React Native? Yes, we can do that. On region change, yes. Any questions so far? In the Q&A sessions, let me see. I'm developing for Android. Is it necessary to build for iOS? No. Target at least one platform, either Android or iOS. If you can target both Android and iOS, that's even better. Yes, you can probably use JSON server package. I don't know about that, but can we get a certificate of participations? Yes. The question is, there any possibility to show the current device location, something like a marker? If I'm not mistaken, it should be automatically enabled here, like with a property. But I didn't see it right now, so let me quickly look into that. We're gonna, in the next steps, we're gonna look at polygons, we're gonna look at markers, how to filter stuff. Let's see, take a snapshot, that's a cool thing. Zoom. It doesn't seem to be here in the documentation. Location follows user location. I'm pretty sure it should be possible. I'm not exactly sure why. Tracking region location. No, that's not what I'm looking for. So let's, I don't know, dig deeper into the map view here because it will show us the map view props. Let's see, cache enable, camera. The camera view the map should display. Use the camera system. What's the camera stuff? Compass offset, custom map style, follow user location. Yes, if true, the map will focus on the user's location. This only works if show user location is true and the user has shared their location. So that means that there is another property called show user location. So let's look at that. This is the boolean. If true, the user's location will be displayed on the map. This will cause iOS to ask for location permission, and it's supported on iOS and it's supported on Android. So let's try to add this parameter to our map view to show user location. And because when we have things like this, show user location equal true, we can simplify it by sending it like this, and it will automatically send it as true. Now we see that Expo Go wants to use our location, so we can press allow while using the application. And not sure where exactly is my location. I could, for the iPhone, I think I can change the location to a custom location. And the custom location here I will set to the same as here, 37.788. That's it. And here for the longitude, come on. Oh, it should be comma. For the longitude, minus 122, 4, 3, and that's it. Okay. And as we can see, the dot automatically appeared here. If I zoom in, you can see it better. So the dot is here, but the problem right now is that the Google Maps, actually I saw that, if we use the Google provider with setting the region and updating the region, it's kinda, we lose the ability to scroll. I'm not sure why. So for that reason, instead of sending here the region, I'm gonna send it as initial region, and I'm not gonna send anything to the region. We still can keep track of the region changes, but we're not overriding it, so now it works as it was working before. And with show user location, it displays the user location here. As you saw in this documentation, I mean not in the official documentation, but going through the source code of the map view, there is also what follows user location. So if we have show user location, we can also pass the follow user location, and that should automatically follow the user. How can we test that? Let's see. We can definitely test it by, on iOS, there is this feature on the iOS simulator to simulate a city run. Not sure where is that city run. Where is the user? Oh, here is the user in San Jose. But why it doesn't follow it? Let's use another type, not city run, but let's do freeway drive. Does it follow? Oh, on iOS it only supports Apple Maps. On Android it doesn't support, you see? So this follow user location is only supported when we are using the Apple Maps. And this follow user location, I would expect that it would be something beneficial for applications where you need some kind of real-time location updates. For example, like if you have like some local deliveries and you want to follow the driver that is delivering your package in real time, maybe that's what you need. So you could use this follow user location. Otherwise, it's actually also possible to do it manually, like to listen to user location changes and then simply animating the map to follow that. So it doesn't mean that it's not possible unless we use Apple Maps. It means that with Apple Maps, it's easier. It's automatically to follow the user location. Anyway, I will comment it out and I will switch back to Google provider. And I will change the location of a user. Where is it? Features, location, custom location. I will go back there. Refresh. Yes, we are here. Nice. Can I use Flutter? Yes, you can use Flutter. Is it possible to have a toolbar for iOS devices using React Native Maps to be able to switch between Google Maps and... I'm not sure what toolbar exactly. Anyway, back to our documentation. The next step is, in a lot of applications, you might want to display points of interest on a map. For example, if it's about events, you might show a list of where the events is happening. If it's some local goods or people around, if it's connecting people, like you want to display them on a map. So that's where markers come into play. With marker, we can display this directly on the map. So let me show you how we can do that. First of all, what we need is to import the marker component from React Native Maps. And to go ahead, and we need to render it inside the map view. At the moment, our map view is a self-closing tag. So to render something inside, we need to switch from a self-closing tag to the opening tag and then closing tag. Now the marker goes here in between, inside the map view, so we can render the marker, which requires coordinate. This coordinate, let's go ahead and copy latitude and longitude of this one, put it here. Just like that, we have the pin there. You can have as many pins as you want on the map with different coordinates. For example, this one I can do 0. Oh, 0 is too much. Maybe 0 here. Yeah, that's fine. And so on and so forth for different things. Yes. Usually, you will have a list of this point of interests. So, let's first focus on how to render a list of these markers, and then I'm going to show you how we can also change some of the things about the markers themselves. So, what I want to do, I don't know exactly like what I'm building. I just want to show you like these features. So I will need some dummy data. Let's go ahead, open ChatGPT to generate some dummy data maybe. If I click on a marker, does the route appear on the bottom? No, it doesn't. No. So let's go ahead and using ChatGPT, maybe generate some data. Let's do generate an array of 10 events where each event has title, short description, latitude and longitude. For the, make sure that all events are in the, what's that location? How's it called? Is it San Francisco? Yeah. In San Francisco. All event locations are in San Francisco. Output a JSON file. Let's see if ChatGPT can help us with this, to generate some dummy data that I can show you how we can loop through. Title, short description, latitude, longitude. Yeah, it seems to be in Bay Area. Nice. I'm not sure why it's Python, but I think we're gonna be able to use some of this. Can we change the marker style? Yes, we can use custom images for marker styles. I'm gonna show that in a moment. I just want to first show you how we can display a list of markers based on some data that we might receive from either a database or from a JSON file. Let me quickly probably I was not specific enough here to say that I just want the JSON file, but it's fine because I can copy this array from here, move back to our application, and let's create a new file here, data.json or events.json. I'll paste this one here, save, and I think everything should look fine. Okay, let's import this data in our app.js. So I'm gonna import events from events.json. Now, what do we have to do? For every single event in this array, we need to render one marker. So when we need to map from data to some UI elements, we can use that .map operator from JavaScript. So what I'm gonna do is first let me quickly comment out these markers, and let me show you how we can loop through the array of events and output a marker for every event. First of all, we need to open the brackets, the curly brackets, to be able to access our variables. Let's access our events, which is an array. Now we're going to map through this array, and for every event, we are going to output a marker. So let me copy a marker and paste it here. Well, at the moment, we only see one marker because we have hard-coded this latitude and longitude. But if I'm gonna take it from event.latitude, we see them spread apart, and if I do event.longitude, we see them all over the place. Perfect. So we already see a list of markers based on some data that we received from a file, or maybe you will receive it from a database. The concept is the same. We have an array of things that contain latitude and longitude, and we map through that array, and for every single item, we use the latitude and longitude to render a marker. So now we have them here on the screen. If we pass additional properties to this marker, for example, title equal to event.title, and maybe also description equal to event.description, then we will be able to press on these items, and we will see Golden Gate Bridge Marathon. Here we're gonna see Alcatraz Island Tour. Here we see something else. So as you can see, we can press on this to get more information. Back to the documentation. Event.description. I'm not sure why, but it's short description. Event.short description. Yes, now it also has a short description below. So it's very simple, but it's already can add a lot of value to your application by displaying points of interest on a map. Someone is asking if it's possible to change how we see the marker or the icon itself. And if we look in the documentation here, we see rendering a marker with a custom image. So what we can do is we can actually use the a custom PNG, and then we can dynamically import it with require to display it. Let's try to do that. And the first step is to find a PNG. I don't know, event icon or something like that. Should I use this one? Will it be visible on the map or not? It's something that will be visible on the map. Let's try this one. I don't know. Maybe it's too huge, but yeah, be mindful with the sizes of this pin because it doesn't have to be a very high quality thing. So this pin that I just downloaded, let me go back and import it in our project under the assets. So I'm gonna import it here and let's rename it to pin. Now in our app.js where we have our marker, what I can do is I can send here the image and I will dynamically import the image with require. And because we are currently in app.js, all we have to do is go into assets directory and access the pin. So ./assets/pin.png. And just like that, we have a pins there. Very huge. Yeah, as I said, like be mindful of the sizes of your pin, but it's nice like how they rotate and move. Anyway, probably I will need a smaller pin. Or maybe, yeah, like I will leave it as it is. Under tools, size, icon, pin, icon. Which one to use? Let's try this one with green. No, this is large. Oh, come on. Why all of them are so large? How large it is? Come on, show me. Google. Smaller, but still. But you got the idea. I think it's pretty straightforward. So with a custom image, import it in your folder, you can access it and use it for the custom pin. You can also have, I don't know, dynamic images based on some properties that you have in your data, like if it is an event or if it's a point of interest, if it's a business, I don't know, something that can identify like which exact image you want to show. That's also possible. I'm gonna comment this out because I want to leave the default like this. Can we manually set height and width of what? We can set manually the height and width of the map view. Yes, I did it full screen, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it full screen. Maybe you want full width, but the height only like 300 pixels. You can do that and it will show only this one. And this way you can have a map on a page with other information. So that's also perfectly fine. I just decided to do it full screen. Can we manually set height and weight for the marker? That's a good question. I'm not sure. What we can do is we can render custom components for our markers. So I'm not gonna do that, but what you can actually do is expand the marker and render something inside this. And in that situation, you can do literally anything. You can render animated components and so on, but again, this will add some, will have some performance implications. Draggable markers. I'm not sure, this sounds like something that people might be interested in how to do. For example, what I can do here is I can have a marker that I can drag around, and this can be useful for setting a location, for pinning something. For example, I don't know, if you are creating an event like a meeting point with local communities and you want to select a park, you might want to move like a pin to that location. To do that, I'm gonna render it separately from the list of markers here. I'm gonna render it as a marker with the coordinate. Let's use these coordinates of our initial region. Maybe I can do some pin color, green. Oh yeah, pink, blue. Okay, purple. Oh, perfect. No, blue. Perfect. Yellow. Which one? So now we want to make this pin draggable. All we have to do is send here draggable, and if we long press it, we can drag it and drop it on some location, as you can see. I like that on Apple Maps it shows, if I pick it up, come on, pick it up. It also shows like a shadow behind, you see? It's really cool. But we also need to know like where did we drop it? Where did we drop it? To check that, there is this on drag end that I will copy from here. Actually, let's first define a state variable for our draggable pin. Let's say this is the location, like if we are showing events, let's say meeting point, set meeting point. This is going to be use state and is going to be the coordinates of initial point. So let's go with latitude and longitude and use this meeting point state variable for our draggable pin. So instead of the hard-coded coordinates, I'm going to use the state variable of a meeting point. Now, I want to also listen when the drag ends. I will send here this on drag end, which has this event and calls the set state. Well, what I'm really interested in is only in this e.nativeEvent.coordinate, and everything else I'm gonna delete because I will call set meeting point with e.nativeEvent.coordinate, the coordinate of the marker where it was dropped. Let's go ahead and in our view here on the bottom, let's also say meeting point, and let's do meeting point dot latitude, meeting point dot longitude, and maybe I can do dot to fixed, I don't know, 4 digits, just not to have a lot of digits after the dot. Maybe 4 is going to be enough. So here is the meeting point. If I select it and drop it somewhere else, we should see it update there. Yes, it updates. Perfect. So we can set the meeting point in this park, and then we can go to this event. I don't know. But that's how you can have a draggable marker, and you can listen to the updates. Someone is saying blue marker. Let's go with blue marker. Yes, looks better. Okay, perfect. I've been able to convince some friends and family interested, but waiting for me to show them what I got of it. I'm sure they like to sign up for your course. Please let me know how they can register for your training and the cost. The course that we have, you can find at academy.notjust.dev. This is the only course that we have. This is the main thing that I've been putting probably a lot of time during the last 2 years. And now it's a complete course that teaches you full stack mobile development using React Native and AWS Amplify. It's very in-depth. It teaches you how to start all the way until your application is on market with even advanced features like creating CI/CD pipelines that would build and automatically deploy it. So yeah, it's pretty in-depth. This Friday, we have a Black Friday deal where you'll be able to join the course with a 50% discount. So you can check it out here. The deal is starting in 1 day and 7 hours. So don't miss it out. Is the backend of great importance for evaluation? I only have experience in frontend. I like your photo, hunger for code, eating keyboard. That's the photo that we probably overuse in our thumbnails. Back to, is the backend of a great importance for evaluation? Look, for the evaluation, how we are going to think about it. In the criteria, there is this realization point. That's about where we will review the completeness and complexity of your project. We recommend, and the completeness means that if your application in the real world will actually need a backend, we would definitely give you more points if you have a backend. But I would recommend, if you don't have a lot of experience with a backend, just focus on the front end, use maybe some JSON data like what I'm doing here with a JSON file of things. Start like this, have something interactive, have something that actually works, because I do believe that you can actually deploy something like this, and when events change, you just come back here and update that file. It's not the best solution, but it's a solution. And I encourage you to at least start with JSON. If you have time, if you have experience, if it makes sense to integrate a backend, go ahead and do that. But some applications might not even need a backend. So see for yourself. All right, so what else can we learn from the maps documentation? Draggable markets, using a custom tile overlay. These are not crucial things. It will simply display different tiles, and it's a bit more complicated to set it up. So I'm not gonna focus on that. Overlaying our components on the map. We already saw that, how we can do with position absolute. Actually on this overlaying components on the map. Common UI pattern that is also used in Airbnb is to have a map and then from the bottom to have a draggable or a bottom sheet navigation that will display a list of things, a list of markers. So let me show you how we can achieve that. I think that's a very nice user interface and might not be very complicated to implement. So let me first do git add, git commit -m basic maps. And let's start by integrating the bottom sheet library in our application. So what we're going to use is a bottom sheet that appears from the bottom. It can stop at different points on the screen and works like a, let's say, like a model that I think here is actually a good example. It has a maps behind the scenes and in the bottom sheet it displays like pictures and other information. So let's start by installing it. We are using Expo, so we need to first install the library. So I'm gonna copy the name of it. And because I'm using npm, let's go ahead and do npm install. And the name is gorhome/bottom sheet at version 4. Now from the documentation, we see that it also has some peer dependencies. And because we are using Expo, we are gonna copy this command, expo install. But again, because I don't have Expo installed globally, which is not the recommended way. Which is the recommended way. I'm gonna have to put npx in front of it. So the command is npx expo install, and we need reanimated and the gesture handler. Back here, React Native gesture handler needs an extra step to finalize its installation. Follow here. So let's follow the installation instruction of gesture handler here. After installation, wrap your entry point with gesture handler root view. So we need to import this gesture handler root view in our app.js at the top. And we need to wrap our whole component here with it. So at the top, before this view, let's add the gesture handler root view, and the closing tag we're going to move all the way after the last closing tag of a view. This way our whole application is inside this gesture handler. Not sure why now we don't see anything. Maybe it's because of the styles. What if I yeah, it needs style flex 1 to take the whole space. Yes. Okay, back to working normally. And yeah, I think that's it with gesture handler. The next step is for reanimated 2. Not sure if it needs any extra installations. We install the package, and we need to add the reanimated Babel plugin to our babel.config. So let's copy this line from plugins, go here to babel.config, and we need to add under the presets, we need plugins, and here the React Native. And it needs to be listed last. And the next step is to restart our server with by clearing the cache. So back where our server is starting, we need to stop it first. To do that, press Ctrl+C or Command+C on Mac, and that will stop the server. And then we can do npm start -- clear to clear the cache. Make sure that the library that we just installed will load. And let's rerun the application. Vadim, would deep linking be an option to open the actual Google Maps app as opposed to using Directions API? I think that if it works, that would be an easy solution to fix that problem. Because yeah, like maybe you, instead of implementing Directions API in your application, maybe you can simply redirect to Google Maps to use Google Maps for directions. That's totally fine, I think. It will save you some time. I'm not sure if you can do that, if you can open Google Maps with the direction, but I think it should be possible with a deep link, as you said. Anyway, what's happening? Warning, each child in a list should have a unique key. That's because of a last... I'm gonna maybe fix it later. Well, the problem here that we see is not a big deal, but whenever we have .map and we are rendering something in the map, then we need to send here a key, a unique key, which I'm gonna use the event.title, and now it should work perfectly fine. This is for React to optimize how it renders. Anyway, back to our bottom sheet. Let's see the usage. We're gonna have to import first of all the bottom sheet, add the top, and we need bottom sheet ref. Let's copy all these 3 lines, the reference, the variables, and the callback to our before return statement. I don't need the console log. I will put these 3 variables. And let's see how to render it. Well, we need to render the bottom sheet, and inside this it has a view, so I'm gonna simply copy it and render it after our map view. So somewhere, probably it's going to be instead of this view, but I'm gonna simply put it right after the map view. And it says that useRef is not there. It's not there because it copied it incorrectly. The useRef should be imported from React. The use memo as well. The use callback as well. Function components cannot have string. What? String refs? Well, at this moment I don't need the bottom sheet ref, so I'm gonna comment it out, and I'm gonna comment it out from the reference here. And just like that, we have a bottom sheet. We have it opens at index 1, and what does that mean at index 1? There are a list of snap points where this list view can stop. At this moment, as you can see, it has 2 snap points, and because we are sending index 1, it opens at the second one. It starts opened. The snap points are defined here. So the snap points are 25% of a screen and 50% of a screen. It depends what you want. Probably you will also want something like 0% where it's completely hidden. Probably it's not 0%, but simply 0. Is it? If you want to allow users to close the sheet, please enable pen down to close. Okay. Didn't know about that, but let's go ahead here and send enable pen down to close. So if I pen down, it closes. Not sure how to open it back. But to open a bottom sheet, that's why we need the reference. So I'm gonna comment it out. I'm gonna put the code back in, and let's see what's the problem here. Oh yeah, because it's JavaScript and it doesn't know about types. So I will simply do useRef with initialize with null. Now, if it's closed, let's go ahead and do the following. When we press on a marker, let's open that view. Does a marker has a on press? Let's see when this happens by doing console pressed. So if I press this marker, yeah, it displays. So what I can do on this event, I can access the, how's it called, bottom sheet, ref dot value or dot current dot open. I don't know. Maybe it's not open. Yeah, let's see. Methods. Where is close? Snap to index. That's what we want. We need to snap to the index 1. So if I press on this one, it also opens the bottom sheet. And here you can have more information about that event. I will close it. If I press, it opens. In this sheet, you can also display your points of interest in a list. For example, Airbnb has this. So the same way as we are looping through them and rendering the marker for every event, the same way you can have here either loop through them, or you can also use a flat list from React Native to render here some data, for example, events. And for render item, you can do the following. You can have an item which is one event, and you can render a view with a text inside. Let's say text, and inside here the item dot title, the title of the event. So now we see the same list of events that we are working with, both on the map as markers, because we have their latitude and longitude, and in a list on the bottom sheet here. I think in this situation the flat list actually should be imported from the bottom sheet, if I'm not mistaken. Flat list, because it needs to know it needs to know like how to handle the scroll events. Or maybe not. Let's see, components. Where is bottom sheet flat list? Oh, it should be bottom sheet flat list. Let's import it like this. I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, now it works. Yeah, and then I don't know, like there is so many opportunities that you can do here. Maybe border with yeah, I just want to make it lighter gray. Not border width, but border radius I wanted. Okay, yeah, so here we see the list. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna comment out or even remove a whole thing here with region and meeting point, because it stays on top of the bottom sheet. And let's only have this one. Nice. So another thing that you can do is have in state the selected event, for example, selected event, set selected event, use state. Initially it's going to be null, but when we press on it, when we press on one marker, besides opening the bottom sheet, we can set selected event, the event that we pressed on. And what that allows us to do is maybe in the bottom sheet, we want to highlight that event. So we can say background color. If item is equal to the selected event, if this item that we are currently rendering is equal to the one that is selected, I want to have a background color of lime, otherwise transparent. So as you can see, the one that I'm choosing is highlighted in the list here. Another thing that you can do is, for example, when changing or when selecting one of the items from the list, we can animate the map to focus on it. That's also a common feature, to press on something and then highlight it on the map where it is. So for that, we're gonna go back to the React Native Maps and let's see, animate to a given position, programmatically changing the region. Yeah, but how, why they are not showing code examples? Using the map view with animated API. Well, the documentation is not very useful in this situation, but map view. Most probably we're gonna need a reference to our map view. So let's go ahead and start by defining the similar way as we have a reference to bottom sheet navigation. Let's also have one for map view. Now, this map view reference, we're going to send it here as the reference map view. Now, when we press on one item from the list, what we want to do is to move the map view region to a different location. So where do we render this list? We render it here in the bottom sheet flat list, and we have a view. The problem with a view is that we cannot handle press events. But if we import from React Native a pressable, which is basically the same view, but it also allows us to handle on-press events. So for example, we can have an on-press, and when this happens, what I want to do is I want to call the map view dot current dot, I don't know, animate or on region change, set region, on drag, draggable. How do we move the map programmatically? One can program it, yeah, but there is. One can change the map view position using graphs and component methods. Come on, what are the component methods? Maybe here, methods. Region. Nope. Let's look at a map view. In here it should have animate to region. That's what I was looking for. So when we press on one item here, well, first of all, when we press, we want to set it active, set selected event as item. And this should highlight it. Yes, at least it should highlight it in the list. But we also, as we said, we want to use the map view reference .current .animate. How did we animate to region? And the region that we want to animate is going to be, well, latitude is going to be item.latitude, and longitude item.longitude. All right, so it focused here on this one. Now if I go to the fisherman, it focuses here. Maybe I can also pass here the region, the delta. These two things are how close do we want to be to that one. So it's a number. I don't know. What happens if I put 1? Okay, 1 is too huge. Probably 0.1. Might be also too far away. We can also use this state to display different marker colors. So pin color can depend if it's selected or not. So if event is equal to the selected event, then it should be green. Otherwise, it should be the default red. So yes, we see it with green here. If I choose something else, it focuses here. It's a bit weird because it moves in the middle of the map, you see. So sometimes it's covered by the bottom sheet itself. You can either add here to, for example, where we have here animate to region to the latitude or longitude. I don't remember which one is which. +1. That's gonna be plus 0.1. Plus 0.01. I think it should be to the other one, or minus. Oh, yeah, I think it works. So if I do 0.05, yes, it centers here. So now we have a connected list where we can display a list of things and all the markers on the map. When we press, it opens the bottom sheet and displays it like this. All right, so that was integrating bottom sheets together with maps to have like this user interface. You can display here more information about things, or you can display the whole list. You can also have it expand full screen as well if you want, by adding here to the snap points one more value, and this will, maybe 100 is too much, so 90 to be like this. When we select one, you can move back to 50. I don't know, like you can play with it to have a better user experience. Panda Life is saying, I love how you always teach. It's great. Yes, I chose that. I also love that I always teach. And I also always learn. Like that's what I like about all the job that I'm doing here at notjustdev. I get to learn a lot of stuff. I get to help others learn as well. What can be better? Abidun, you're welcome. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, as I said, I'm gonna commit. So git add, git bottom sheet. Did I make this public? You're also gonna have access to it. So if you need help seeing this the source code, You'll find it under local communities under my name, Savi Vadim. I will paste the link to the repository here so you can also have. Well, I think that's a very good foundation to have in order to work with maps. I might stop here. Let me go through the questions. If there are some questions, I can cover them as well. Rogelio, thank you very much. Is bottom sheet only supported for iOS? No, it's supported for Android as well. I'm actually gonna try to run the same application on Android to see if it should work. The relaxism. It's 12:30 a.m. here and still craving to learn. Yeah, the day just started for you. Daniel, hello. Rakovica Alexei, hello. How are you, amigo? You must be sipping a margarita. Let me check the Q&A section. How to fetch current location, getting stuck at it. Is it okay if in demo we just go with already set location? I think it's okay in the demo to go with a predefined location. About authentication, Firebase, or is there any other way you can explain about authentication in React Native and Expo? There are a lot of solutions out there. Like, it really depends on what else you're gonna use from the backend, like for your application. Because if you have some experience with AWS Amplify, that can help you set up authentication really quickly. You can also use Supabase. You can also use Firebase. On this channel, we have a lot of tutorials with AWS Amplify and some of them with Supabase. Do you like Supabase? What's your thought with React Native? I grew to really like Supabase, to be honest. I used it in a couple of projects, some of them production projects, and especially the database layer, the Postgres is really handy. I don't know, maybe it might be Postgres or SQL databases might be complicated for some, but I've got a very good background with SQL, and it comes very natural to me to create all the queries. And yeah, like when you have SQLs, like you can do so much more compared to other solutions. So I really enjoy it. Also, like the authentication layer, really great. The dashboard, super easy to set up everything. To use bottom sheet in production, does it require any special configuration in Android or iOS files? I don't think so. So here I'm running the application on Android as well, just to make sure that the same things is working. The styles of this are a bit different, but everything else is working similarly. Perfect. Summary saying, Vadim, without backend I cannot submit actions and everything I need to save. So I'm just using state to save a state and demonstrate the functionality. Is that okay? I would say that's okay. If you show us the main things, like even though you'll lose the data after you refresh the application, if you show us like how this could work, like that's the goal. The goal is not to have a polished and production ready application. The goal is to have a proof of concept. And a proof of concept is to try to implement a solution to a problem and show us how it will help the user. So yeah, that's why the focus should be on the main solution. But like, of course, when I answer these questions that it's okay not to have a backend, for people that have experience and they can build the backend as well, that's going to be even better for you. So yes, everything is possible. Like start simple, start with local state, have some functionalities ready, to have a proof of concept ready to submit. And if you have time, implement additional things like a backend maybe to save, to show, and so on. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to end here. Don't forget that we have a Discord channel. And in the evening, I'm going to spend some time there. So join the Discord channel. I'm going to answer your questions. Someone else can help you as well. Maybe someone from our team will be there as well. Anyway, don't forget, this is day 2 of our Notjust hack. There is one more day. Where is that timeline? There is one more day, 1.5 days. And tomorrow evening on 22nd November, it's the deadline to submit your project. For that, all you have to do is record a 2 minutes video. You'll find the desired structure on notjust.dev/hack. All the information is there, and it will tell you like what you have to do. It's very simple. You introduce the problem, you introduce the solution that you're trying to build, and you show us a demo of what exactly you have built, and by focusing on the main features. That's everything you have to do. When you submit, also provide the GitHub repository. That's very important for the grading. And yeah, that's the most important part. Tomorrow, we're going to have one more live stream. Tomorrow, I will talk more about the demo day. I will give you some advice on how to present and what to focus on. So now just focus on building the application and join tomorrow live stream for the last details about the demo day and how everything is going to happen. Don't forget that there is a Black Friday deal coming up very soon. It's almost, it's on Thursday, 23rd of November. And this is the biggest deal that we're going to have at Notjust Academy. Make sure to check it out if you're interested, and set a reminder not to miss this opportunity. Thank you very much for being here. Good luck with the application that you're building, and I cannot wait to see your results and your applications out there.